Art Rooney II, the Steelers owner and general manager, no, he's the owner and team president. Kevin Colbert is the general manager. Spoke with reporters on Tuesday in 2 separate sessions. He talked about, among other things, Ben Roethlisberger's future with the team. It turns out the team president and the quarterback sat down, and Art Rooney II came away thinking that Roethlisberger would return. He mentioned that the quarterback was probably frustrated at the end of the season, but that naturally happens when your team loses in the AFC Championship. He didn't get into specifics of why he thought the quarterback would be back, other than saying later that, well, the guy is competitive. Which would make sense because, he's a professional athlete and he's been doing it for a while and he seems to like the sports, and usually in sports you either win or you lose. Sometimes you tie, but it's very rare. So I think Art Rooney's analysis is pretty accurate insofar as that the franchise quarterback of his team is in fact competitive. I don't think that will be disputed. It's a pretty liable-proof statement, and I tend to agree with the idea that Ben Roethlisberger will be back with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Art Rooney also discussed Antonio Brown. He was really, really happy to minimize any so-called distractions from whether it be his Facebook video or celebrations or whatever the case may be. He said they didn't really affect the team on the field all that much, he didn't think, and he just hopes there's less of them in the future. He keeps them to a minimum, which may be a more realistic approach. One of the things that really interested me in the conversation with Art Rooney II was what I'm going to call the Martavis Bryant rule. He had mentioned to reporters last year that he spoke with the NFLPA about allowing teams to contact players that were suspended for a year and or indefinitely. It's kind of one and the same, the way the drug policy works out, due to substance abuse issues, to keep in contact with the player, to check on them, to sort of support them to the extent that they can, as they would have liked to with Martavis Bryant, who has applied for reinstatement. And when talking to Art Rooney II, he said, look, I thought this rule was going to get changed. It seems like a relatively intuitive thing that people would want fixed. The NFLPA couldn't come to an agreement on it, and they didn't. He said, he hopes in the future that they will, but it didn't happen for Martavis Bryant. He has applied for reinstatement, and if the NFL sticks to its guidelines of, not guidelines, they're very strict days of when a player is supposed to be guaranteed a hearing and a ruling, he should be back well before voluntary workouts and OTAs. So the Steelers, conceivably, if his reinstatement application gets approved, should have Martavis Bryant back. That's week 2 in Steelers. I will leave you with one fun fact that probably won't aid you unless you're just sadistically watching this as a non-fan of the Steelers, in which case, cool, message me. The Steelers have played in 16% of Super Bowls going into the game that's going to happen on Sunday. Then it'll be a lower number. But just to underscore the whole reality of being a Steelers fan that you may be, 16% of Super Bowls. It's okay. It's going to be okay. And it's definitely going to be okay for me because it's Friday and I am signing off. And this broadcast from PennLive's Pittsburgh East End Studios is finished. Farewell.